When the Taliban rolled in and kicked the aliens out of Kabul, I actually danced on that street, Rahim Khan said. And believe me, I wasn't alone. People were celebrating at Shaman and Dema Sang, greeting the Taliban in the streets, cleaning their tanks, and posing for pictures with them. People were so tired of the constant fighting, tired of the rockets, the gunfire, the explosions, tired of watching Gulbuddin and his cohorts fighting on anything that moved. The aliens did more damage to Kabul than the Shorawi. They destroyed your father's orphanage. Did you know that? Why? I said. Why would they destroy an orphanage? I remember sitting behind Baba the day they opened the orphanage. The wine had knocked off his caracul hat and everyone had laughed. Then stood and clapped when he had delivered his speech. And now it was just another pile of rubble. All the money Baba had spent, all those nights he had sweated over the blueprints, all the visits to the construction site to make sure every brick, every beam, and every block was laid just right. Collateral damage, Rahim Khan said. You don't want to know, Amir Jan, what it was like sifting through the rubble of that orphanage. They were body parts of children. So when the Taliban came, they were heroes, Rahim Khan said. Peace at last. Yes, hope is a strange thing. Peace at last. But at what price? A violent cutting feet gripped Rahim Khan and rocked his gaunt body back and forth. When he spat into his handkerchief, it immediately stained red. I thought that was as good a time as any to address the elephant sitting with us in the tiny room. How are you? I asked. I mean, really, how are you? Dying, actually, he said in a gurgling voice. Another round of cutting. More blood on the handkerchief. He wiped his mouth. Blood his sweaty brow from one wasted temple to the other with his sleeve, and gave me a quick glance. When he nodded, I knew he had read the next question on my face. Not long, he breathed. How long? He shrugged. Cut it again. I don't think I will see the end of the summer, he said. Let me take you home with me. I can find you a good doctor. They are coming up with new treatments at the time. There are new drugs and experimental treatments. We could enroll you in one. I was rambling, and I knew it. But it was better than crying, which I was probably going to do anyway. He let out a chuff of laughter, revealed missing lower incisors. It was the most tired laughter I have ever heard. I see America has infused in you with the optimism that has made her so great. That's very good. We are melancholic people. We Afghans, aren't we? Often we wallow too much in camaraderie and self-pity. We give in to loss, to suffering, accept it as a fact of life, even see it as necessary. Zendagi mixada, we say, life goes on. But I am not surrendering to fate here. I am being pragmatic. I have seen several good doctors here, and they have given the same answer. I trust them and believe them. There is such a thing as God's will. There is only what you do and what you don't do, I said. Rahim Khan laughed. You sound like your father just now. I miss him so much, but it is God's will, Amir Jan. It really is. He paused. Besides, there is another reason I asked you to come here. I wanted to see you before I go. Yes, but something else too. Anything. You know, all those years I lived in your father's house after you left? Yes. I wasn't alone for all of them. Hassan lived there with me. Hassan, I said. When was the last time I had spoke his name? Those thorny old barbs of guilt bore into me once more, as if speaking his name had broke a spell, set them free to torment me anew. Suddenly, there in Rahim's Khan's little flat was too thick, too hot, too rich with the smell of the street. I thought about writing you and telling you before, but I wasn't sure you wanted to know. Was I wrong? The truth was no. The lie was yes. I settled for something in between. I don't know. He caught another patch of blood into the handkerchief. When he bent his head to speak, I saw honey-crusted sores on his scalp. I brought you here because I am going to ask you something of you. I'm going to ask you to do something for me, but before I do, I want to tell you about Hassan. Do you understand? Yes, I murmured. I want to tell you about him. I want to tell you everything. You will listen? I nodded. Then Rahim Khan sipped some more tea, rested his head against the wall, and spoke.